Well, can I just say, you say that you're targeting Hezbollah, but densely populated civilian areas were struck where the elderly were killed, small children were killed, mothers were killed, doctors, poets. As I said, these were densely populated areas, civilian areas, with people who had no affiliation to Hezbollah.
First of all, we regret the loss of life of any civilians, period. We are doing everything we can to minimize civilian casualties. We notify the population before we strike. We give them a heads up. You know, most of the villages in southern Lebanon, mostly the Shiite villages, are empty now because we gave them a proper warning and they moved up to the north. So we will continue to do that. But at the same time, you know, once you see Hezbollah next to your house,
there were no warnings.
Next to your facility, you have to
there were no warnings.
That Hezbollah is a target.
This caught this nation by surprise, where you basically launch, 100 strikes in the space of 10 minutes. And many of the civilians say that they received no notification. And that's why we're seeing the death toll the way that it currently is. And you, by hitting these civilian areas, you've breached international law, you've breached humanitarian law. And as you heard there from the minister there, Lebanese ministers are accusing Israel of committing war crimes in this country.
Yalda, you're absolutely wrong. First of all, Hezbollah is targeting civilians in Israel, period. So we have the right to defend ourselves, and we do not target civilians.
So when you say you have the right to defend yourself, you will hit civilian areas.
We target military targets, terrorist targets, and if they are hiding, we will find them. So, you know, the blame is on Hezbollah. And, you know, we speak for a few minutes, and every time you go back to the main issue, you forget about the existence of Hezbollah. You know, and I speak with my Lebanese colleagues, and I tell them...
Ambassador, I know, but Ambassador Danon, you
cannot. No, you speak about everything else, but you actually miss the main point. The main point that Hezbollah...
No, but I'm asking about Israel's actions. I'm asking about Israel's actions because the buildings that you've struck, witnesses, emergency workers, the medics that arrived there are saying that those buildings were civilian areas.
You will going to ask everything you want, but I will bring you back to the root cause of the problem and the conflict. For decades, we are fighting Hezbollah. For decades, Hezbollah is in control of Lebanon. So you cannot speak about the suffering in Lebanon without mentioning what is the cause for that. They started this cycle of violence again 40 days ago. So now to come to Israel...
But Ambassador, you have an obligation under international law, under humanitarian law, to ensure that you do not target densely populated areas. And these areas, the buildings that you struck, were civilian areas that had no affiliation with Hezbollah, that weren't military installations.
No, that's
and
not correct.
And that's why we are seeing a high number of civilians, including women and children, killed. And I mean, there are the profiles of these people. I'm here in Beirut, and I've been speaking to officials, I've been speaking to families and those who have been impacted, and they were civilians.
Yalda, we are targeting military sites of Hezbollah. And unfortunately, you have thousands of sites. Hezbollah is targeting civilian communities in Israel. As we speak, you have Israelis in shelters in northern Israel. And you cannot ignore the fact that the Lebanese government and the ministers, they all say the right things, but they don't take actions against Hezbollah. You know, how many troops they have sent to southern Lebanon? How many incidents were between the Lebanese military and Hezbollah terrorists? We know the truth, we know the facts. We know that Hezbollah is running the show in parts of Lebanon. And until we will face this core issue, we will continue to speak about that, you know, and there will be suffering in Israel and there will be suffering in Lebanon. We have to realize that together we have to take an effort, a sincere effort, to uproot Hezbollah from Lebanon. This is the only way forward. Otherwise, there are going to be more cycles of violence, more tragedies, more sufferings for both sides.